Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama श्री श्रीमद श्रील अभय अरविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वयंभराट स्वरूपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय निताय गौर परमानंदे Oh, glorious assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Oh, glorious assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Oh, glorious assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Oh, glorious to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Oh, glorious to Shri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastadi Kadi Shrimati Radhanath Swami Namini. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastadi Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Paricharini Nirvishesha Prachatati Shatarini Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Uttarakamam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagarpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Pranamami Haripriye Manjukalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vihevascha Patitanam Pavanero Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we continue our discussion on the symptoms or items of surrender. And yesterday we spoke about what the surrender is.
There are few devotees who only speak French, so is it okay if somebody sits next to you and who sent it? Okay.
Whatever you prefer.
Need who can do French translations?
You can try and listen to this.
Okay. Christopher, you can next to go, please.
Here is a microphone.
I can speak loud. No?
Who doesn't understand English? Two devotees. Is it possible to have a small group in the corner?
Okay.
Because if there would be many devotees, it would be sensible. So, okay. So we continue our discussion on the topics of surrender. And yesterday we spoke about what surrender is. And we said that it's basically giving up freedom. And then we discussed that no one would like to give up his freedom, but we realized that no one is free, actually, in this world. So we are always conditioned either by spiritual or material energies. And we discussed how important it is to realize to surrender to Krishna. Yes, in 5th chapter of Bhagavata Gita, maybe we didn't so explicitly said this. At the end of the chapter, Krishna says, "Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka mahishwaram sukhritam sarvabhutanam gyatmamam shantim richiti." So we should know who Krishna is. he says, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam. I'm the enjoyer of all yagyas, of all sacrifices, and tapasa, of all austerities. So, that doesn't mean only those yagyas that we pour ghee into the fire, but in fact, everything we do in our life is some kind of sacrifice. Therefore, in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Yagyartan karmano nyatra lokayan karma bandhanam tadartam api kantaya mukta sanghak samachara. That everything we do, our karma, should be performed as an offering, as an yagya, to the Lord of yagya, that is Vishnu. And then we can be free. Otherwise, everyone is bound if he performs something for himself. So, whatever we do is some kind of yagya. For example, that you sit here is also some kind of yagya. And tapasa means austerities. Everyone, in Slovenian we have a proverb that without effort, without toil, we cannot even put our shoe on. So, every action is in fact an endeavor, is a type of austerity, isn't it? For example, if you would sit long here, you would move because it starts to pain. Yes. So it's some kind of austerity. And to listen and sit quietly is also an austerity. Especially we can see this in children. Yes. So Krishna is the enjoyer of all our sacrifices and austerities. And Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he's the proprietor of everything. He's the master of everything that exists, of all the planets. Loka means planet and world. But that doesn't mean only external worlds, but also our internal worlds, our thoughts, our ideas, our desires. He's the Lord of everything also, internally, not just externally. So they should also be devoted to the Lord, because He's the master of everything, externally and internally. But one may think that if Krishna is only enjoyer, and Krishna is the only proprietor and master of everything, that he's some kind of dictator. I don't know if you know about Ivan the Terrible. Have you heard about Ivan the Terrible? This was a Russian Tsar. And Russians many times had very cruel governments and Tsars. But this one was so cruel that he was named the Terrible One. Yes, Ivan the Terrible. So one may think if Krishna is the proprietor of everything, the enjoyer of everything, and the master of everything, he must be some kind of Ivan the Terrible. And people are afraid of such a God, aren't they? Many times we can see that people are afraid of God, and therefore they deny God. Why should we have such a terrible Lord over us? It's some kind of lunatics have made up. But Krishna says, Sukritam Sarvabhutanam. I'm the well-wisher of every living entity. Therefore, whatever I do, whatever happens to a living entity is my mercy. It's for the beneficial of the living entity. Yes. And he teaches us how to behave, how to act in this world in order to achieve the ultimate happiness. Yesterday we said that we are Ananda Mayobhyasa, that we are happy by our constitutional nature. And therefore everything we do, everything we think, everything we say, if we know it or not, is pursuit of pleasure, of happiness. Yes. So, and Krishna says many times, because we are conditioned in this world, we already realized this through our lecture yesterday. So he says, Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya Mam Eva Ye Prapadante Mayam Etantarantiti. It's impossible to go beyond Maya, beyond this external energy. It's unconquerable. Yes. It's extremely powerful because it's Krishna's Shakti, Hare Krishna. It's Krishna's personal energy. Yes. And whatever we have, our instruments, our intelligence, our mind, our senses, these are all material. We cannot overcome these material instruments. So, by something material, we cannot go beyond material. Impossible. So he says, Mam eva ye prapadanti, mayam etam tarantiti. Those who surrender unto me, Mam eva, certainly to me. Yes, only to me. That then we can go beyond this Maya easily. So the question is how to surrender, and this we discuss in our seminar. So yesterday we said that there are 6 items of surrender, and the first one is Anukulyasya Sankalpa, and we said that Anukulyasya means those things that are favorable on the same bank, we said, with Krishna. To accept those which are favorable things. And we discussed first 2, as explained by Rupa Goswami in Padishamrita. And there are 6 items that are favorable for devotional service. And Utsaha Nishchaya Darya Tatat Karma Pravartana Sangatyagat Satuvati Shadbir Bhakti Prasidhati. Those 6 items are conducive, are very beneficial for devotional service. And we discussed Utsaha. What is Utsaha? Enthusiasm. Yes. And we said that without enthusiasm we cannot do anything in this world. Or if we do it, it's not very well done. Yes. And we cannot achieve anything, even material things, without enthusiasm. So we should be enthusiastic about what we do. But in order to be enthusiastic, we also have to be determined to endeavor with great conviction. And this is Utsaha Nishchaya, to have firm conviction about what we do. And we said that that Baladev Bhushan said in one commentary to his purport to Bhagavata Gita in 12th chapter, I think, that if we think ourselves unqualified for something, we lose interest for it. So we shouldn't think ourselves unqualified for devotional service. What is the qualification for devotional service?
Faith.
Faith. Yes. This is the only qualification for devotional service. And we discussed that faith is the qualification for everything, not just for devotional service. But also other things should be there for other processes. For example, for jnana, you also need faith, otherwise why would you undergo such strenuous process as jnana? You need faith, but you need also, to start jnana, you should take sannyas first. This is prerequisite for jnana. Yes. Otherwise, it's a joke, path of jnana. You mess with material world and you speak something else completely. You're above this material world. So for the process of jnana, you should take sannyas. And for the proper process of karma, you should take birth in the varnashram dharma and perform sacrifices and so on, according to Vedic prescriptions. Yes, so many different qualifications should be there on different paths. And for example, for some material success, you should study in the university, or I don't know, you should qualify first to do something, whatever. But you have to have faith also in this process, otherwise you wouldn't do it. So faith is basis for everything we do in this world. Otherwise we won't do anything without faith. If you don't have faith, we said this example of train going to Paris. If you don't have faith that this train will go to Paris, we won't go on it. Yes. Because we need faith to do anything. So, yes, faith is, in this case, the only qualification for devotional service. The only one. So we should have firm faith. Yes. Nishchaya, firm conviction. So, and then is dharyat, is to be patient. Without patience also we cannot achieve anything. We cannot achieve anything overnight. We can, not even material things we cannot achieve overnight. We cannot learn how to walk overnight, or to speak overnight, or to eat even. Yes, we have to be taught how to eat. So everything, for everything we need patience. Patience. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that this patience, this dharyat, should be applied for urges of the body. Rupa Goswami explains that there are 6 urges of the body in the first verse of Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction. And he says, Vacha vegam manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam udarabhasta vegam, etan veganyo vishathi dadira, sarvam abhimam prithvim sashishyat. That one should, by this patience, tolerate these urges of the body. Vacha vegam is the first one, the urge for speaking. Yes. Speech is very strong urge. Yes. Especially for women. And even for men. Yes, it's very difficult to be quiet. Yes. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that we should keep mauna vrata. Mauna means to be quiet, and vrata means vow of silence. And that means that we speak only Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha is allowed. Because then our focus will be on Krishna. Especially detrimental for our consciousness is pracharya, is basically gossiping. Pracharya means gossiping. And gossip is so common among people that I heard very long time ago, I mean 25 or 30 years ago, I read that there was some bishop in South America who protested that gossip shouldn't be qualified as a sin, because it's so common that no one can avoid it. So it shouldn't be counted as a sin. Yes. But Krishna consciousness philosophy says that this gossip is detrimental for our consciousness, because our basic problem is to play a role of a master, to be the Lord of everything in this world. And as we discussed yesterday, therefore, there is a conflict on every level of existence in this material world, because there is no place for two lords. And if I want to be a master, there is another master who doesn't agree with my mastership. Yes. And therefore there is a fight. Yes. And so this gossip is innate in conditioned living entity, because he wants to prove everyone that he is qualified to be a master and others are not. Yes. And therefore we speak about other faults of the other people. Yes. So we should avoid this gossip, urge of speaking. And if we notice that we don't have anything to say about Krishna or anything like this, we should be silent. Yes. This is urge of speech. And then is search of mind. Of course, we cannot go so deep into every item, because we have to cover all the seminar in a few days. Urge of the mind, yes. The mind is chanchala. That means that it's not stable. It's wandering here and there and everywhere. And we can observe our mind during our japa. Yes. If we think we control our mind, we just should take our japa mala and start chanting. So yes, mind is very disturbed all the time. And we can observe our thoughts, because as we said, we are Ananda Mayobhyasat, we want to be happy. So whatever we think, it's expression of our desire to be happy. So either we try to achieve something pleasurable, or avoid something what is not pleasurable, what we consider it's not pleasurable. So we discussed this raga and dvesha yesterday. So we are attached to something and we hate something else. We are averse to something else. So these two kinds of thoughts will always be in our mind. Therefore, Shukadeva Goswami in 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam says, Na kuryat karhichit sakyam manasi hyanavasite yad vishambhat shirachiranam chaskanda tapayeshwaram. That we should never make friends with the mind. That mind is like a wild beast, and if we don't keep an eye on wild beast, it will set free and destroy us. Yes. And even great souls were many times defeated by the mind, Shukadeva Goswami says. Therefore, you should never put trust in the mind. But we know that Krishna says in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that mind can be a friend also, if you control it. But it's not an ordinary friend. It should be under the control. Otherwise, it immediately becomes our most deadly enemy. Most deadly enemy. Yes. Therefore, we should control our mind. And in the next verse, Shukadeva Goswami says that if one puts his trust in the mind, he's like a husband of a harlot, of a prostitute, who will be cheated, definitely. And Prabhupada says that not only cheated, but the husband will be killed by the lovers of such a prostitute wife. Yes. So we shouldn't put trust in our mind, never ever. Yes. So we should direct our thoughts, our desires to achieve Krishna, to properly associate with other devotees also. This is also something that is first created. The proper association is also created first in the mind, to have proper disposition towards others. Yes. Krodha. Krodha is anger. Krodha is very deadly for devotee, for every living entity, of course. So it should be strictly controlled. Also, and Krishna, Krishna says, Kama yesha krodha yesha rajoguna samudbhava mahasha no mahapapma vidyanamiha varinam. That this is all destroying thing. This karma, lust, and krodha, anger. Yes, all devouring, deadly enemy of the living entity. Lust and anger. Yes, it will destroy our existence. Yes. So krodha should be strictly under our control. And krodha is the consequence of unfulfilled lust. So we want something in this world, but as we discussed, we are not masters. So nothing goes according to our plan, or very little. And then because something goes against our plans, our expectations, our ideas, we become angry. Yes. Or we cannot enjoy what we wanted to enjoy, so we become angry. So we should control our lust first, then we can control also our anger. Yes. Jihva Vegam is the urge of a tongue, and this is of course of tasting. And as is explained by Lord Chaitanya in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that if one hankers for tasting good food, he cannot become a devotee. So, this maybe sounds terrible. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that it's for materialists, this is his life, to go around and thinking all the time, what will he taste? To enjoy different tastes, to enjoy different food. Yes. So, according to our acharyas, we should take the food which is easily available, not to endeavor too much for tasty food. Yes. So we should take whatever is easily available. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur then says, maybe this is something to please us, that if tasty prasadam is available, easily available, then it will not degrade us, but gradually we will lose this voracious desire to taste. Yes. If we are always satisfied with what we get easily. Yeah. This is the principle. Yeah. And then are the urges of belly. We want to fill up our belly. And we can see if we have too much fat in our body, we are subservient to our urge of the belly and the tongue. Yes. So we can check ourselves. Yes. And there are pastavigam, there are urges of genitals. Yes. So this urge should be properly utilized, and we should first marry if this urge is very strong, and use it for procreation of good Krishna conscious children. This is very important. If we have urge for sex life strong, we should marry, and as explained by our acharyas, children are grihastha dharma. So if we don't plan to have children, it's useless to get married. Otherwise we marry just to enjoy our senses. Isn't it? Yes. So yes, in modern world this sounds very out of date. Very conservative. Too much conservative. But this is proper austerity. And we said that Krishna is the enjoyer of all austerities. And every ashram, in fact, is an austerity. We should take it as an austerity, not as a means to enjoy. If we want to avoid grihastha ashram and we stay brahmachari, even if we have strong desire for the opposite sex, or take sannyas because it's inconvenient to be grihastha, then we'll definitely suffer because we'll not be properly situated, or we will fall down from our position. So we should know for every ashram it's a type of sacrifice, it's a type of austerity. No ashram is easy for a conditioned soul, because conditioned soul wants to be free without any limitations to his enjoyment, his or her enjoyment. So yes, we should voluntarily take these limitations for our benefit. Because Krishna explains in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that whatever seems to be like nectar at the beginning is poison at the end. Yes. And there is one poem in Slovenian, most famous Slovenian poet wrote a poem how everything he thought that it will be sweet like honey, it turned into the poison. Yes. I'm sure he read Bhagavad Gita. Yes. And Krishna explains also that whatever seems like poison at the beginning, it's nectar at the end. Yes. This austerity, this discipline seems like poison at the beginning, but it's nectar at the end. Yes. Because without discipline we cannot achieve anything. We just become a bum on the street. Yes. Because we don't do anything without some kind of discipline. So there was one champion in marathon running. He said that only the disciplined ones are free in life. So it seems contradictory because discipline, by definition, is not freedom. Yes. So we should be disciplined. And taking an ashram is discipline. So yes, we should control our urge of sex by properly getting married and have children. Yes. Then this is dharyat, tat karma pravartana. We should perform devotional service. So we should not just idly meditate on the Lord, but we should engage in devotional service also practically. Because we are put in some position. As we said, that ashram is also one position. So everyone is put in certain position, in certain age, certain body, certain environment, certain nationality. So we have certain environment, body, mind, country, laws, and we utilize whatever we got for service of the Lord. This is that karma pravartana. But we should know how to serve. So we should study Shastra and listen very carefully. Prabhupada says that hearing, Shravanam, is the foremost of different items of devotional service. But we know that Lord Chaitanya says it's Kirtana, how these two can go together. And Prabhupada explains that without proper Shravanam, we cannot do proper Kirtanam also. So our Kirtanam, our chanting the holy names and glorifying the Lord, depends on proper Shravanam, proper hearing. Yes. And it is explained by Sutta Goswami in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharmak svanushitah pumsam vishvaksena katasur notpadayat yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. And he says that if our work doesn't incite our interest to hear about the Lord, everything we do is shrama eva hi kevalam. He uses very strong words. Shrama means useless endeavor. what we get from useless endeavor? Only blisters on our hands. And nothing else. And he says it's shrama, useless endeavor, useless work. And he uses shrama eva. Eva means certainly. You cannot go around it. Certainly it is just useless labor. And he means also certainly. And kevalam. Kevalam means only and nothing else. So it's like he would bang with his fist. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Yes. So we should know that we should develop deep urge to hear. To hear. That means also to read Prabhupada's books. Yes. And we discussed that Sambandha Jnana, the proper understanding of who is Krishna, who are we, what is our relationship, is crucial, essential for our devotional service. We said this we discussed Nishchaya. Yes. We cannot be convinced. So if we are lazy in devotional service, that means that we are not convinced in the process of devotional service, and that we don't have firm faith in devotional service. And of course we also lack enthusiasm. So we shouldn't be lazy in our devotional service. We should know that this is lack of many important items of devotional service, of surrender. Yes, it's laziness. And laziness in Christianity is counted as one of the 7 most deadly sins. Yes. So we should be afraid of laziness. Sangha Tyagat is the next one, which is beneficial for devotional service. Sangha Tyagat means to give up association of materialists. Yes. Sangha means association. So we should avoid all kind of association that is not conducive for devotional service. Yes. And there are 2 kinds of association with other people. One is just to be in proximity of other people who are not devotees, and the other is to have affectionate relationship with those who are not devotees. There are 2 kinds of association with non-devotees, and both are of course detrimental for our devotional service. Because we know from common language, the common sense, that birds of the same feather flock together. So if we associate with drunkards, we will definitely become drunkard ourselves also. Why we should otherwise associate with drunkards? No point. And if we associate with, for example, alpinists, if we don't start to climb ourselves, we'll be bored to death by their speaking about their climbing activities. I went here and there, and we don't even know about their hills and mountains, and so we will be bored. So if we associate with alpinists, we definitely start to climb ourselves also. Otherwise we will leave such a company. So whatever company we keep, that mentality we will also adopt ourselves. In fact, it is said by different psychologists that everyone we meet, even on the street, influences our consciousness. Yes, because he emits some consciousness, some conviction, some set of values. So if any living entity, of course, especially human being, has something that he considers valuable, that is interesting for other living entities, our living beings, our human beings, because we want to be happy. And everyone considers valuable things that makes me happy, isn't it? It's something makes me miserable, I want to avoid. I don't want to, this is not my value. I don't want to achieve this miserable state of existence. I want to be happy. So yes, everyone emanates his cravings to be happy and his way to become happy. So even if therefore it is said that if we want to worship the deities and we come from outside world, we should first take a shower. Because we are influenced by the consciousness of materialistic people. Yes. So we should strictly avoid the association of worldly people. Strictly avoid. Of course, we can try to give them Krishna consciousness, but this is not taking association, this is giving association. This is something completely different. Then we give them our values. We give them the idea of what can make us happy. It's important to understand. And Satovrite, to follow example of great souls. Yes. This is conducive for devotional service. In fact, it's extremely necessary that we follow the example of great souls and take inspiration from the great souls. For example, I can say from my own experience, yes, I become a devotee because of Saint Francis of Assisi. Yes. I was brought up in Christian family, especially my grandmother was deeply religious, and we could discuss about God with her. My mother was just ritualistic, not deep. And father, he was not religious at all. So I'm eternally grateful to my grandmother, who showed me the way to the Lord by her firm faith. So then I lost my faith pretty much, not completely, during my teenage and university time. And then I studied for my diploma. I was writing about universal ethics. And then I also studied the Christian saints. And I encountered again Saint Francis of Assisi. I went to Sunday school in Franciscan church, and I was attracted to Saint Francis of Assisi even before, but not very deeply. But then I was struck by his example, and I wanted to become a missionary. I wanted to completely devote myself to the Lord, as exemplified by the Saint Francis of Assisi. This is one example how great souls can influence our life. So we should take inspiration and example from great souls. We should hear about Leela of great souls. Of Srila Prabhupada, for example. He sacrificed his life to save us. He was nearly 70 when he left India. And everyone told him, you will die in America. Don't go. It's a cold country. And indeed it was a cold country. In the 60s and 70s, it was common idea that this an ice age approaching, because it was so cold. So, and Prabhupada wasn't used to such cold. And he had 2 heart attacks when he went to America. And he was trying to preach about God who no one heard about. You can imagine? Now everyone knows about Krishna and so on. He has some idea. But he came there, no one knew anything. He came without any money. He had 40 rupees. It was nothing actually, because no one would took rupees in America. Yes. So he came without any money, actually. These rupees were useless completely. Yes. And then his everything was stolen. Even his manuscript of Bhagavad Gita was stolen. And he was one crazy lunatic drug addict. He wanted to kill him even. And he was so frustrated that he regularly was going to the docks and to see when Jaladuta will, or the next ship will go back to India. But he didn't embark. He wanted to fulfill the desire of his spiritual master. So, by studying such examples as Srila Prabhupada or any other genuine saint, we will get inspired also for our devotional service. So, this is, yes, Anukulyasya Sankalpa. Hare Krishna. To accept what is favorable for devotional service. So, is there any questions or comments or doubts or experiences of yourself about these topics? Yes, please.
Hi, Prabhu. I just had a question. You said we should feel unqualified to do our qualified to do our service. We should not feel unqualified.
Yes.
And I was remembering that Srila Prabhupada was saying that he was feeling unqualified when he came. It was by the qualification of his spiritual master. So how can we feel qualified and unqualified in the same time that way?
Yes, this is a very good question. So we should know that we are completely helpless. In this way we are unqualified. But because of empowerment of our spiritual master, we can fulfill by his mercy our service. On our own we cannot do anything. Even in material world we cannot do anything on our own, because we needed someone who taught us how to speak, who taught us how to walk, who taught us how to read, and who taught us many things. So in every regard we need some empowerment from others. So we should know that we ourselves are completely insignificant. Our power to do anything is completely insignificant. But by the empowerment of Guru and Krishna, we can do whatever is their desires of Guru and Krishna. We can do miracles, but it's not our power to do miracles. But it's Krishna's power and Guru's power to do miracles. Yes. My spiritual master once said that we should just do our prescribed service with enthusiasm in whatever situation we are in. And then miracles will unfold around us, which are beyond our power. Yes. So we should know that we are qualified to have faith. This was my point. We are qualified to have faith in Guru and Krishna. Yes. This is the only qualification. And then on the basis of this faith, we can do whatever we are asked to do. Yes. And we know from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra what we are asked to do. Yes. And we should try to do it. Yeah. And then whatever is our capacity, it's perfect if it is utilized completely for the Lord's pleasure. Like we know these two examples of Hanuman and this spider. Ram was satisfied with service of both. Yes. Because they completely dedicated their life for the service of Ram. Even there was different capacity to do service. So we are like spiders. Someone is maybe like Hanuman. But we do what we can. We should do what we can. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Yes, please.
Thank you, Guru. You spoke also on the anger, krodha.
Yes.
How part of surrendering is to surrender this anger because it's
Yes.
destroying ourselves and others. But then we see many accounts of great personalities displaying anger, seemingly, from what we understand, for the benefit of others. So how do we practically understand this in our own life? That yes, we should avoid anger, but it seems that anger is there also for a reason sometimes, which can be used beneficially. So how do we make that distinction?
Yes, thank you for this question. It's very important to understand that whatever propensities we have in our life, even for anger or for sex life or for gossiping also, we discussed this, can be, they all come from Krishna, these propensities. Otherwise, because they exist. Otherwise they wouldn't exist, because nothing can exist outside of Krishna. Because Krishna is absolute. So also this anger, propensity for anger, comes from Krishna. And whatever comes from Krishna can be utilized for Krishna's service. So if we use it because our mastership is curtailed, it's detrimental for our life. If we use anger because someone put an obstacle to our enjoyment or to our ideas or whatever, this is obstacle for devotional life, detrimental for our devotional life. But if we can see that someone is wasting his life or doing something wrong in his life for his own benefit, he goes against his own benefit, then if we think it is proper way of helping others, we can use anger as a tool to save this other person. For example, you said many great personalities, of course, but we have also more common example. A parent is many times angry at his children because if the children wants to put a hand into the electric socket here, he can be killed, especially if he tries to put some wire inside. Yes. So parents should express his anger in order to save his or her child. So in the same way, the devotee should utilize his anger to save his fellow devotee. Yes. But we should know when it's proper to use our anger, because there comes Vaishnava etiquette in the play, because we should know proper Vaishnava etiquette. So Guru can apply anger, and if we are very good friends to someone, we can apply anger with belief that we can help the other person. Otherwise, if you are just angry at someone, and he will or she will feel offended, and then instead of helping, we help to go to hell the other person, instead of helping to liberate it. Yes, please.
Following on from his question about anger, if someone doesn't express anger, but what about frustration or disappointment?
Yes, frustration is the other side of the conditioning coin.
And what about disappointment?
And disappointment also. Why we are frustrated? If we think that we have a power to destroy our obstacles to our enjoyment, we become angry. And by our anger, we want to destroy our obstacles to be happy. But if we consider that these obstacles are too powerful for me to remove them from our life, we become frustrated. Yes, because anger has no role to play if the obstacle is too powerful. Yes, so we become frustrated. So we should know that this urge for anger and frustration also comes from our conditioning nature. So we should cultivate humility, and this is also one of the types of surrender, items of surrender.
And disappointment, which is still different.
Disappointment is similar. It's just synonym to frustration in some way, not completely, but disappointment. Of course, we have some ideas how the world should be, how others should be, and because they are not, we are disappointed. But we should know that, as is explained by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that everything is perfect in this world. So we should understand this, that everything is meant for our complete surrender to Krishna. So even if everything goes wrong and all our endeavors are in vain, this is Krishna's mercy for us. So why should we be disappointed? We should be grateful. Yes. But we should have proper vision. We should have trained consciousness. Therefore Krishna repeatedly says in Bhagavad Gita that we should train our consciousness. Abhyasa yoga. Abhyasa yoga yuktana citta samanagama. Paramam purusham divyam yati partam chinta. Always train your consciousness, because we are not able to be in samadhi all the time. So we should train. We have like military drill of our consciousness. Yes. Yes. Hare Krishna.
I just had a question about this question of anger. At Kurukshetra, do you think all the Pandavas were Kshatriyas?
Yes.
But were there Brahmins in the camp of the Pandavas?
Yes, there were also Brahmins there. Yes, of course, Kshatriyas, if they If they want to kill, they have to be angry. But they should kill under the direction of the Lord, to serve the Lord. Then everything is perfect. Even this anger is properly utilized. And whoever was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was blessed by Krishna. He attained liberation. So their killing was beneficial for every living entity. Yes. So we should know how to utilize our anger. If it is our job, we should utilize it also. But for the serving of Krishna, for the service of Krishna, not for our sense enjoyment. This is the point. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.